Hello angry people on the internet. The last two Zenless Zone Zero videos I've made upset a lot of people. The first time I was too negative and said I'm not into furries. The second time I upset the haters because despite the obvious flaws, I kinda liked the game. And you know, dislikes really hurt my feelings. So I decided I needed to make a video that pleased everybody this time. So I got to brainstorming and eventually I worked it out. How about I make a choose your own adventure style thing where you pick what kind of viewing experience you want. So if you hate ZZZ, go to the timestamp on the screen now and get a segment entirely tailored to suit your homophobia needs. On the other hand, if you love ZZZ, go to this timestamp, so together we can celebrate its magnificence. As a bonus, because I upset people by stating my opinion on HSR by calling it trash, I've also made a segment apologising and singing its praises. So for you wonderful people, here is your timestamp. And last but not least, for those who want confirmation bias that I just have poor taste, I've compiled a segment at the end where I go through all my controversial opinions, so that going forward you can just link back to it and dismiss anything I say. Now to make this as fair as possible, for the first 24 hours of this video being live, I will give it the video title of Zenless Zone Zero is trash. Then for the next 24, I will rename it to Zenless Zone Zero is the best gacha game ever created. Day 3, it will become Honkai Starrail is better than every JRPG ever. And finally, on the 4th day of Christmas, I will then set the thumbnail to Tectone's face and call the video My Authentic Tectone Experience Part 2, so that I can potentially get him to react and farm more views and subscribers from him. Now, without wasting any more time, please pick the segment that most suits you. I'll give you 5 seconds. Tasht was right, but his analogy was wrong. It isn't a polished turd, it's a polished bag of turds. Because what's stinkier than a turd? Well, many turds, of course. This game is an absolute yap fest. Characters just stand there and talk and talk and talk and talk. It's nothing like Genshin Impact, HSR or Wuthering Waves, where the writers were obviously paid based on their word count, while the cinematics teams were paid based on how many angles they could muster that capture the full grace of the thinking pose. No, instead they were paid on how much boredom they could accumulate. Then there's the comic book storytelling. Are we living in the 1940s or something? Who even reads comic books anymore? But to be honest, I'd rather read a book about gay Superman than consume this crap, because at least a story about that would have drama. Every character is a stereotype and a furry, and the UI looks like my dog had consumed 5 packets of Skittles before regurgitating them back onto the screen. Then there's the TV world. Oh god, the TV world. Who the fuck watches TV anymore? Do I look like a 75-year-old pensioner? We spend all our time switching channels to find 5 seconds of brain-dead combat. Speaking of which, you can mash one button over and over and eventually things happen on their own. All the while the enemies just stare at you. It's like going into your regular Discord server, atting everyone asking if they want to play League of Legends to receive no response, despite later seeing everybody already being online in-game in a group of 4 and waiting to play. Why'd you never invite me, you fucks? The game is basically Genshin, but the combat is worse than PUUUURRFECT. Just retaliate, you fucks. In the end, I just uninstalled it. I need those 50 gigabytes for expanding my Genshin image collection anyway. Trash game, 1 out of 10. I only give it 1 because the music is good. Please like and subscribe if you agree. Goodbye. Zenless Zone Zero is a masterclass in creating the perfect game. Its animations are fluid like a snake on smack, and its fluffy cast of characters are to die for. The TV world is a great source of nostalgia, sending us back to our childhoods, where we sit and watch movies like The Lion King, Fox and the Hound, Lady and the Tramp, and Bambi. The combat is a deep and satisfying journey where we utilize all 3 members of our team that we've expertly crafted from the animal kingdom. It's basically a fighting game, except we don't have to deal with competition because competitive humans are just awful. Unfortunately, some meanies on the internet claim that PUUUURRFECT's combat is better. Why do these people always insist on making everything a competition? Anyway, PUUUURRFECT is just Genshin Impact for depressed people and meanies who didn't have enough Disney magic in their childhood. They also criticize the game for nerfing Nicole's sex appeal, but I ask, what sex appeal? PUUUURRFECT did worse. They patched away Ling Yang's fur, and that was a change that I will never forgive. I know it's a little negative, but overall, I give this game a 9 out of 10. It would be a 10 if all the other characters had fuzzy ears and tails, but unfortunately, HoYoverse just wasn't willing to take it the extra mile. Also, the music is good. Thanks for watching. Please leave a warm cuzzy comment down below to share the love for this awesome game. Toodaloo! Wait, are we live? Oh, okay. I was wrong. Honkai Starrail is a good turn-based RPG. It isn't about building a team where each member has very limited skills. It is exactly like a normal JRPG, which isn't gated by a progression system where you have to log in for 5 minutes a day for several days due to arbitrary restrictions. Every boss encounter is about 10% prep work and 90% execution, which is the correct ratio. And I did not at all use pretty much the same team through the entire story and brute force it by repeating the same rotation over and over. No, that never happened because the game has an elemental weakness system that cannot be overcome through brute force. It is not true that if you are lucky, you can pull super OP characters and trivialize the combat, removing any semblance of strategy from the game. No, this is definitely not true. Every JRPG has an auto battle system designed in such a way that you can walk away from the chair and go make chicky nuggies. They are absolutely not designed to just spam auto attacks to get through trash quicker once you are strong enough. Instead, they are programmed with logic so the game can play itself, unlike Honkai Starrail. The story of the game is always amazing, especially the Lol Fu segment, and never at any point is it padded out with pointless dialogue to meet the writer's word count quota. Overall, this game is a 10 out of 10 and beats every turn-based RPG in existence, such as every Persona game, every Final Fantasy game, every Trials game, every Tales game, every Bravely Default game, every Dragon Quest game, every Xenoblade game, every Atelier game, every Neptunia game, every Pokemon game, every classical JRPG including Chrono Trigger, every obscure game such as Koldelka, every Western RPG, especially those made by Larian Studios, including Baldur's Gate 3, every tactical RPG game such as Fire Emblem, Shining Force, Disgaea and XCOM, every indie game such as I Am Setsuna, Undertale, Chained Echoes and Sea of Stars, and every other crappy RPG that isn't worth mentioning. And yes, it is true, I have never played any of these games ever, and I literally don't know what I'm talking about. I don't own any of them, nor have I owned them at any point, and I definitely haven't played Starrail. HSR is the best turn-based RPG I have ever had the great fortune to not experience. It is the exact reason why I have kept it installed, and not because I am waiting to burn all my remaining summons on a beautiful slave driver before I do. I hope that clears things up. Thank you for watching. P.S. The game does not suck Firefly's dick. I hope each segment of this video has been to your liking and you skipped to the appropriate part so you didn't get offended. If you are sensitive, I would advise closing the video now because this segment is designed to be triggering. I'm about to share with you my most controversial opinions, so this is your pre-warning. You will now have 5 seconds to leave. Murata Himiko was a bad teacher and deserved to die. Teppei was a massive cunt. I'm glad he suffered accelerated aging. I hope he got to experience shitting and pissing himself before he died an agonizing death. The best part of the Penacony story was where Firefly got vaporized into blue goo. The worst part of the Penacony story was when Firefly came back, but this time she had a dick. The Rings of Power is the best Lord of the Rings content ever made. Way better than Peter Jackson's trilogy and way better than Tolkien's Yap Fest. Last year, Lord of Ring Gollum deserved Game of the Year, not Baldur's Gate 3. Kafka is not hot. She is a man. The Avatar The Last Airbender movie was way better than the animated series. In fact, the correct way to watch this garbage is with your eyes closed and your ears plugged. This new Natlan character is way too white. Her skin is going to act like a mirror, reflecting the Latin American sun, blinding me while I play. AI art is better than real art in every conceivable way. In fact, it requires more talent. An artist should just shut up and get a real job. Terminator 2 is a bad movie. No, AI isn't going to murder us all. Klee isn't adorable, she's an insufferable little shit. Tipping is a moral good, and you should tip 200% of the service cost. I would consider Tectone to literally be the best human being on the planet if it wasn't for the existence of Atsu. And last but not least, I'm still enjoying Zenless Zone Zero. Now with you all loaded up, please make sure to keep the like ratio above 99% and leave a comment about how right I am, because if you don't, my ego might starve and I might have to resort to a little cry. But as always, if you don't want to do any of that, would you kindly bugger off?
Are you here for playtime with Clee?
No, piss off.